Welcome to DC Music Rocks. The Washington, D.C. region has one of the best local music scenes in the country. We're shining a spotlight on its great songs and incredible people. Tune in, jam on, rock out. I'm your host, Brian Nelson Palmer, and with me today is Dante Pope. Say hi, man.
Hey, it's good to be here. Thank you so much for having me and giving me the opportunity to find some new ears to sprinkle some magic on.
Oh, and it's so magic, man. I've been such a Dante Pope fan for a while now. And if they've never heard of you, how would you describe yourself?
If I could compare myself to three artists that are similar or that I take inspiration from, I would say Leon Bridges, John Legend, and Marvin Gaye.
Wow. So great vocalist. And talk about what it is that you do. What, drummer vocalist or
yes,
what?
I'm a soul drummer vocalist.
Soul drum. So does that mean you play the drums with a microphone like some of those other drummers that I've seen? Or
exactly. Yeah.
It means more composer, producer.
I do it all. I do it all. I play drums live in performance and sing.
Okay.
Specifically, at the Strathmore where I'm artist in resident right now, I'm kind of listed as multi-instrumentalist.
Oh,
so, for all the songs that I have, I wrote everything. I played everything for the most part. So I may be on guitar for a song. I may be on the drums and vocals for a song, or I may just sing and let the band take it. It all depends.
Good gracious, man. Well, it's such a treat to have you here. And we're going to be listening to some of your music and we're going to interview you later.
Thank you.
This is going to be great. On today's show, we'll start with news from the DC music scene. And then we have great music by artists from the scene here. And then, of course, a very special interview with Dante. So we'll kick this off. 3 quick reminders as we get started. 1, subscribe to DC Music Rocks, the podcast. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button in your podcast app. Don't be afraid of that commitment. Let's make this relationship official. Number 2, tell a friend who likes music about us. Every one of our thousands of followers found us exactly that way. So please do tell a friend. And of course, sign up for the email list. Every week, we're finding and sharing all these shows, this news, these guests, and this great music. Listen, let us email it to you so you don't have to go looking for this stuff every week. Now, right off the bat, first, let's jump into some news. First up is announcements. And then right off the bat, Whammies are happening. The 2019 Whammy Awards, the Whammies are back. It's awesome. And so now, and the question I've gotten from some people is what's different or how does it work? So let me just share quickly the process to decide the Whammy winners. Here's how it works. The month of January, nominations are being accepted online from everybody in the general public. So you listening and also you listening and also you listening, everybody can go nominate their favorite 2018 releases. So they've got different categories. You go to whammiesdc.org and you click on the nominations button and you'll be able to nominate anybody. The artist has to be in the DC region. So then in February, the top most nominated. That means if you nominate them and you nominate them and you nominate them, whoever's got the most public nominations is in contention as a finalist. So the top most nominated releases or artists in each award category will then be scored by a panel of judges comprised of the region's music industry professionals. And then the winner, the finalist with the highest combined score from the judging round wins. So that's the way we're doing the Whammies. And so in award eligibility, people have asked me about that. First, you have to have released music in 2018. So anywhere time from January 1st to December 31st, you had to have released something new. The artist must be from the DC region, and there's a map, what they call the DC region. There's all the counties around the area. And then, of course, the artist must have a release that's widely available on at least 2 of the main commercial music platforms. So it has to be put out there broadly. And of course, there's FAQs. So what can you do? Go on whammiesdc.org right now and nominate your favorite artists and then spread the word about it. Tag them on social media. Let them know you did. And if you're an artist, tell your fans, hey, go nominate me for this particular award category or whatever it is you think you're most competitive in, because the most nominations from the public is what makes you a finalist. So do that right now. And I've got in your episode notes for this episode, you've got the links that you need to go. whammiesdc.org. They're listed for you right there. So go check that one out. That's the big updates from the Whammies. And man, I'm so excited. The Whammies, I've been involved in helping bring them back. And it's awesome to have a Grammys for DC. The Grammys for DC is the Whammies, and it's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm actually involved with the organization that assisted as well, the organization called The Musicianship.
Yeah.
who actually acquired the Whammies. I'm their program manager for their masterclass series. So,
and I can't wait to talk about that because I'm on the steering committee for the Whammies and helping bring that back. And so I've seen your name associated with that too. So let's talk about that later during the interview for sure. Now let's talk about new releases. Right now, remember, I'm going to talk about them. These are all available right now wherever you get your music. And in your episode notes, there's a link to the profile, which has their iTunes and Spotify links. So you can go listen to this music. And then of course their website and Facebook. So you can find out more information. So in the music new releases, Double Motorcycle released an album called Double Motorcycle the Second. It's an 11-song full album of hard rock. It's recommended if you like Blink-182. You might love Double Motorcycle. And Justin Shapiro also released Live at the 930 Club. It's a 3-song EP, and this one's fun because this is the DC Music Rocks Festival. We were able to get Bias Studios to record that live festival at the 930 Club, and then they mixed and mastered it, and now the artists get to release it. And Justin Shapiro was one of the singer-songwriters that performed at the festival, and he's now released a live album. And so that got put out this week. So those are linked in your episode notes. And for music videos, the 555 released a video for Marquee, which is a video. It's a recent release by the band. And I've been loving this song, and the video is really fun. So I've got the link for you in the episode notes. You also have Private Contractors released Turn My Phone Off. It's a music video for a great hard rock track that they have. And these guys always have a great storyline in their tracks. So the YouTube video is right there. This one's no exception. It's very good by the Private Contractors. And last up, Mike Hauser released Doctor, What's the Plan? And it's a great story about supporting mental health realities for millennials. And it's a cool song too. So that music video is there.
And Mike Hauser is pretty cool. I actually met him at Songbird.
Yeah.
He runs sound there, man.
That's awesome.
He was like doing tech and stuff for a gig. He's a nice guy, man.
Mike's a great dude. I'm a fan, and I really do like this video. So that's awesome. And speaking of new releases, Dante, talk about new releases in your world. What's happening musically for you?
Musically, drum roll, please. I'll be releasing a first EP, my debut EP, February 16th.
That's
so I'm
awesome.
very excited, man. I've released about 4 singles leading up to it. And so this is my first full body of work, and I'm so excited, man. It's a soul project, with a great group of guys that have supported me. And I recorded over at Blue House Productions in Silver Spring, and I'm looking forward for it to be heard, man.
Congratulations, man. That is really exciting. I can't wait to listen to it, man. This is coming out. You said, when is that? February 16th,
and the live show will be at Songbird Record Cafe in Adams Morgan, in DC. 8 p.m. is when the show starts. And
what date is that? On February 16th?
It's a Saturday, February 16th. So the actual release is the 16th.
Everything's February 16th.
Everything.
That is the Dante Pope Day.
Yes.
It's February 16th. You make sure you check out
February 16th.
February 16th.
Yeah.
Dante Pope.
Yeah.
You got music coming out on all the platforms. You got a show at Songbird. This one's going to be fun.
Full of love songs. Valentine's Day weekend. Like purchase the album and cut the lights off. You know what I mean?
Purchase. I feel like that's a hashtag or something. Purchase the album and cut the lights off.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh, that's gonna be so much fun. And speaking of concerts, I do want to stop and take a minute. The last news update is, so what concerts are you gonna see this week? Because remember, research shows that it reduces stress and makes you happy if you go see shows. And in your episode notes right now, you've got the link to our local music calendar, which is the only place online you can find exclusively where DC's own talent is performing in a 50-mile radius around DC. So that link is there for you. And Dante, you brought up, so February 16th at Songbird, they can catch you for the EP release, but you do more in performing if they want to see you live. What else is coming up? Shows for you?
I have a lot of stuff on the local scene. Every second and fourth Sunday, I have a residency at this spot called Wicked Bloom, like right on North Capitol. And that's Soulful Sundays, no cover. And it's myself and this group that I'm working on called the Experiment. And we just jam out from 7 to 10.
That's awesome.
1540 North Capitol. And then I'm currently an artist and resident at the Strathmore.
Oh, okay.
January is my month. And so every Wednesday I've been doing shows. This Wednesday being tomorrow is a free masterclass. If you want to learn about some of the origins of field songs and that journey of the African American experience leading up to soul music and really American history, come out tomorrow and learn about polyrhythms and call and response in a very interactive masterclass at the Strathmore Mansion. All you got to
Now,
do is just register, man.
What date is that? You said that's January 23rd. Is
Tomorrow.
That one?
Yeah, it's that
and
one.
Then,
and then the 30th is the
30th.
very last show, which will feature my commission piece of music, but that's an hour set of just fusion. It's going to be just crazy. I'm not singing on this one.
If they've never been to the Strathmore, where is that?
The Strathmore is in Bethesda.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up, what's that? Rockville? Is it Rockville Pike, I believe? Like way up there.
Yeah.
But if you just go to www.strathmore.com, all the information is there. Or if you go to DantePope.com, all these shows are listed there.
DantePope.com.
DantePope.com.
There it is. And Dante, Dante, and Pope, like the religious guy Pope.
Exactly.
That one. DantePope.com. You got it. Now, we've been talking for a little bit, so let's jump into some music here, because I got some great music to share with you today. And this first one's one that I brought with me. This is a group, every week I get to bring you new music that I've never played for you before, and it brings me joy. This one is the Chromanauts. I've been tracking them for a while offline, and now the music's out everywhere, and now I get to share one with you. This is called Lions in the Street.
DC Music rocks. Great jams to hear by artists from here.
The sweet sounds of the Chromanauts, and the track is Lions in the Street, and that's off their album called Nothing to Lose. And so I've been tracking the Chromanauts for a while, and it's an awesome reggae group. If you like Steel Pulse, Peter Tosh, or The Police, you might love the Chromanauts. They just released this EP, or LP, EP. Let's see, that's one. No, it's full album. What are we talking about? There are 16 songs on this amazing album that they released called Nothing to Lose.
Nice.
So I hope you check out more from the Chromanauts, because, oh my goodness, it's so good. So you heard one of their songs there, but check it out. Story behind their name is that the Chromanauts, it's an exploration of color through sound. So also we'll play on the lead singer's last name, which is Chroma. So Chroma, Kroma. So you've got Chromanauts, and it's that exploration of sound. And so 3 main members, they've got a lead vocals, Mr. Chroma on lead vocals. Then of course they've got Matt on drums and Kush on guitar. And they're from Maryland. And so there's so much good stuff from these guys. I hope you check out more from them. If you like reggae and that kind of cool vibe, awesome stuff coming from the Chromanauts. Now, I have Dante Pope with me on the show today, and my favorite way to introduce you to my guests, especially if they're musical guests, is to play some of their music. And so we're definitely going to do that right now. This is Dante Pope, and the track is called One Summer's Eve.
DC Music rocks.
One summer's eve, in a quiet place I held a rose, a lovely rose. It was there at that moment that I fell in love. Heaven only knows. I'm so glad to see you're blossoming with me. Oh, however, baby, heaven only knows. I'm so glad to see. I'm so glad to see. Yeah. The moonlight dancing, the glory of the love we shared. Oh, it did, yeah. And the stars and the heavens above sang our praise, love. Heaven only knows. I'm so glad to see. I'm so glad to see blossoming. Ooh-wee. Oh, however did you grow up? However did you grow? No, baby, yeah. I'm so glad to see you're blossoming with me. You should have been there the moment she bloomed in front of me. And you would have fallen in love, you see. One summer's eve, in a quiet place I held a rose, a lovely rose. It was there at that moment that I fell in love. Heaven only knows. I'm so glad to see you're blossoming with me, yeah. Where did you come from, baby? Don't you drive me crazy, yeah. 'Cause you're mine, oh mine. Love you all the time. When I kiss your lips, I am filled with bliss. My everything. Oh, your smile, your pretty hands, yeah. Oh, however did you grow up? Heaven only knows. I'm so glad to see you're blossoming with me. Oh, however did you grow up? However did you grow? Only knows. I'm so glad to see you're blossoming with me.
There it is. That's Dante Pope, and the track is One Summer's Eve. And that's a single. When did that drop?
That single dropped last August. Yeah,
nice.
last August.
There it is. And you said last August. That would have been August of 2018?
August of 2018.
There you go. So that would be, we were talking about the whammies. You could nominate that for a whammy.
That song could be nominated
That
for a
could be-
Whammy?
I think, you released in 2018 and that's
Yeah.
what the Whammys are about. So, hey, note to self, that
Yes.
could be a Whammy nomination. But anyway, One Summer's Eve. And what's that song about?
So that song is about me meeting my wife, actually. Yeah.
Really?
Mrs.
Oh my God.
Blaine
That's just,
Pope. Yeah,
that's
man.
just adorable.
We met in really in the spring.
Okay.
But initially when I wrote that song, I wanted to be like Count Basie's. I really want to be a pianist.
Okay.
And I play a lot of jazz, so
Sure.
I know the chords I want to hear, but I don't have the facilities to do all that stuff. And initially when I wrote the song, it was a ballad. So it was like, one summer's eve.
Oh.
I wanted
Really?
like be like
Oh.
a trumpet, like a whole orchestral
Okay.
happening, which hopefully can happen someday.
Yeah.
But when I got into making the record, I was just like, I think that would sound cool with like a little Motown backbeat on it,
Yeah. That's where that
and-
drummer influence
yeah,
comes in,
just
right?
picked it
You're
up.
thinking about the beat. Yep.
Exactly. But
Okay.
yeah, it's just a straight metaphor. One summer's eve in a quiet place. I found
Wow.
a rose. It was there at that moment I fell in love.
Oh.
And so it was just about us meeting on stage at the Atlas Theater after a show.
Wow.
She introduced herself to me and said, "Hey, you want to hang out?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I was found, actually. I should have said the quiet place a rose found me. But in that moment, it was as if like time stopped, man.
The rose might have found you, but I think you found the rose.
Yeah, it was a blessing, man. It
Definitely.
was really
That
a blessing.
that's a lot of
Yeah.
blessings, man. Well, that's cool. Well, let me give you a proper introduction here. So on DC Music Rocks, we're shining a spotlight on the great songs, artists, and incredible people behind the DC region's music scene. Dante Pope is a soul drummer and vocalist based in Washington, DC. As a native of Chicago, Illinois, he blends his gospel roots with a soulful swing that has been showcased all around the world. Currently, he's an artist in residence at the illustrious Stratmore Performance Center in Bethesda, Maryland, and a percussion instructor for the Levine. Is it Levine? Do I say that right?
Yeah, Levine School of Music.
School of Music. His passion for arts and education has connected him with the musicianship and the DC Arts and Humanities Council's grant program. And he creates learning experiences with world-class talent for 100 fourth and fifth graders once a month for the musicianship's master class series. So to date, he's assisted in servicing over 1,000 students in the DC area. Most recently, Dante toured with Kenny Wesley and the Soulful Nerd Band to Peru, Bolivia, Colombia, Madagascar, Gabon, and Rwanda through the State Department's American Music Abroad program. He served as music director for Grammy-nominated soul artist Raheem Devon and The Crossroads, toured the country with Grammy Award-winning artist Don Flemings and Old Crow Medicine Show. We're going to play one of Don Flemings' songs here coming up. And he's collaborated with hosts of many other artists based in various genres from jazz to Afrobeat. So basically the guy it's like one of those things where you have all these different things that you do. You're teaching, you're involved with the kids, and yet you're making music and you're releasing EPs. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, is there anything you don't do?
My wife will tell you, probably more of my family knows than musicians on the scene. But I mean, I kind of was raised to do too much. I really
raised
like
to do too
much.
much.
I like being all over the place, and so I love exploring and kind of seeing where things will take me, man.
Wow. And now talk about first your connection to the DC region. Are you live in the area, or how
Yeah.
long you been here? How'd you
I've
get
been
here?
in DC for 11 years.
Wow.
I moved here in 2007 to work for my member of Congress from Chicago.
So you used to be on the Hill?
I was on the Hill for 5 years, man.
Wow. And then you quit your life and now you're
yeah,
a musician?
so-
I wonder how
interesting-
many other people have that story.
Man, so-
especially lately, there's a lot
Right.
happening.
Yeah, so-
how'd it work for you?
The way it worked for me was, when I came here, I was only doing policy. I didn't touch music until really starting to play for churches.
Okay.
And quite frankly, I started meeting all these musicians who, in a way, I've modeled my experience after, guys that I would see playing at what used to be Bohemian Caverns or a lot of the smaller spots on U Street who were accessible. But on the weekend, it's like, yeah, I'm about to be on the road with Marcus Miller or playing with Herbie Hancock. Like my first jazz gig, I subbed for Sean Rickman, who was on the road with Herbie Hancock for a gig at Copper Canyon in Silver Spring. And
Holy
so
smokes.
I met all these artists and musicians who were down to earth, but were doing all this stuff. And it's like, wow, so I don't have to be mean to be a successful artist, really.
Yeah.
And so it really took me moving to this scene, 'cause I went to college in Nashville. So I was already in a musical town, but I feel like, coming to DC, it's almost like if the Capitol building were a toy for kids, what I would do is put like the real DC in there and then have the kids like take the top off and be like, oh, it's not just politics. You know what I mean? Because
right?
it's so much more. DC is deeper than the government, man. It's like,
it really is.
There's an art scene. There's a bar scene that's crazy. There's the dance scene. There's so many different cultures here. And so I was inspired by that. And 2012 got the courage enough to, take my 401k and invest in myself.
Okay.
And a lot of people like, man, you're crazy. And, was blessed from there to, kind of see what would happen. And here I am now, man.
Wow. And so wait a minute. Now, where did the drums start? Because I know you didn't just quit your hill job and then learn to play drums.
No.
So you were doing that before? Or
exactly.
where did the music
that's
start?
My very
you just
first
took a break.
instrument. Yeah, that was my first instrument. So my family, I come from like a long line of preachers.
Okay.
And so my grandfather at the time, I was 3 years old. From what I'm told, I've always played something. My grandmother used to have chopsticks in her purse, and my mom, she's on here, she'll attest to it. But they would just give me chopsticks during service, and when I turned about 3, they would let me play one part of service, which was offering. When people are just walking around.
I was going to say, everybody's carrying the bins around to pass you donations, and that was your time to play.
Yeah, while people are talking to each other and not paying attention. That's when it's like, yeah, so where are we going to eat? Like, oh, he's on the drums, whatever,
Okay. How old were you at the time?
3 years old.
Okay.
And so, I started in the church. So when you talk about gospel roots, that's where I learned how to, keep a good pocket. My father's also a drummer. So that was my first teacher. And then I started to study music, when I turned about 9. At a place called Dorland Music Academy in Chicago. And Dorland was a school that was run by trained classical musicians that happened to be like recording gospel musicians.
Wow.
So I was getting guys who were like playing on big records, showing me some of the tricks and, kind of helping me get the confidence behind the kit.
Okay.
And then in 5th grade, I got into Chicago's Merit School of Music, which is like a feeder to the Chicago Youth Symphony Orchestra. And it was there where, from 10 to 18, I was studying percussion. So
wow, so all the percussion. So it's not just drum set. No, we're talking timpani and xylophone and
marimbas and djembes and
all that stuff.
All that good stuff. And so I went to college in Nashville, and a lot of my mentors were like, you're kind of bright, man. This music thing isn't. I don't think that'll work. So. Wait. Yeah, it's
I don't think that's going to work because you're
like,
kind of bright.
Yeah, it's kind of bright. You think about going to law school, you could talk well.
They're discouraging you.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
So what I did.
Talk about mixed message.
Exactly.
Holy smokes.
So I was like, you know what, man? Okay, I'll major in something else, but I'm going to go to a city where I know I could get my music on. So I looked at Chicago, of course, was in the top 5, Orlando, Florida, New York, LA, Nashville.
Yeah.
And Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
It was like 7 cities. So I didn't want to go south, like to Florida. I knew California would cost too much to get back home.
Okay.
So when I visited Nashville, I was like, I think I could come down here. And so I went to Fisk University, and while at Fisk, I was in the Jubilee Singers.
Mm-hmm.
And the Fisk Jubilee Singers was where I learned I got to do this at some point. I don't know where, but I have to do this because the group was actually signed to Mike Curb Records. Mike Curb is connected to Lot on Music Row and Belmont. Yep. And so our first gig, we were with Robert Randolph, the cat, and Sawyer Brown.
I don't know who those people are.
So yeah, we were like doing all these big gigs,
Wow. And this was in Nashville?
This was in Nashville.
So when did you move to DC then?
2007.
So that 2000, and you went to Nashville when?
From 2004 to 2007.
Okay. And then you came to DC and so that you were switching out of music when you came to DC?
No, I majored in political science in college.
Oh, that was the other part.
That's
so
what
you did music and then you switched to political science and now you're back to music.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, just went back and forth and back and forth.
Holy smokes. All right. So there's a lot of music now because you've gone to that and you've left the day job behind, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And now talk about you on the personal side. So outside of this whole music thing, what do you do in your free time?
So, as we were talking earlier, about my wife, she's bartended at a couple of places and I've drank at a lot of places.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I got
consumption of beverages.
We kind of dove into this thing, man, like a couple of years ago where we would just stay at home and like mess with as many cuisines as we could, but also make our own simple syrups. We'd have like competitions like, I'm going to get like toasted almond and a little bit of rosemary, and then make a simple out of that, but then muddle some blueberries, right? And a little bit of lemon juice. Let that sit overnight. We would just like, so I really, I love food and I love cocktails, like good craft cocktails. Outside of that, I just pawned my, my Xbox, but I'm a gamer, man. Like I love, I love playing like 2K and Madden. I'm kind of bad at it. But just the idea of like, I don't feel like playing basketball right now because it's kind of like an occupational hazard as a drummer. Like,
I was gonna say you're gonna get hurt or something.
But
but you can play it on a video game. And you don't have the injury problem.
Exactly. Unless I punch the wall because I'm mad. But I like gaming. Honestly, I like just sitting still sometimes.
Wow.
DC has so many random small parks that you could find, and so. There was that garden up in Georgetown. Was it off M Street? It's like just a rose garden or something. It's like next to a church.
Oh man, I know what you're talking
in the cut,
about,
man. But I just used to like going in there and just like doing nothing, just
meditating of sorts, thinking and letting your brain wander.
Exactly.
Yeah, you need that time during the day. That's for sure. Now, talk about a time you tried and failed. What comes to mind?
Oh wow, it's happened many times. Let's say. Musically, when I first started playing for Raheem Devine, in the Crossroads, I was starstruck, man. This guy.
I was gonna say it's Raheem, man.
Yeah,
boy.
So that first rehearsal,
Billboard stuff, right? I mean, he's been around. Yeah.
That first rehearsal was like, I'm on the drums and I'm just thinking, like, man, I remember when I was in college, this date I went on, I'd use like this song and this song.
Oh, it's like Customer was on my makeout playlist. Man. But if you haven't heard Raheem Devine, you got to check out his music. And there's a song called Customer that's like one of the big ones from the 90s or 2000s.
Well, yeah, it was like 2005, 2006, 2007. And he has new music out now. He
just dropped one last week. We were talking about his newest one that just came out.
Don't Come Easy, I think.
Yeah,
man. So anyway, I definitely failed because it was like I got in my head, and you're a drummer too, so the minute you start thinking about time is the minute you mess up time.
This is true.
And oh my gosh, it was like that was the worst ever, man. I'm happy it wasn't.
But you didn't get fired.
I didn't get fired.
Okay,
I didn't get fired, but I definitely got a lot of looks. And that's not comfortable.
What you doing over there? Yeah. What's going on over there? See that pocket? You totally missed it.
Yeah,
it's over here, and you're over there. What the hell?
That joint turned into a sleeve.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh man.
Okay, all right. And now, what about? So, if you could offer one piece of advice, what would it be? Take that, whatever context you want.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would apply it to any part of life. You need to focus. My grandmother always says, keep your focus. And that focus doesn't mean just a mental state. It means actions as well. So keeping your focus means being consistent in whatever it is you're doing. And I'm excited about this EP because I finally kept my focus because you're creative too. So you understand your mind can go so many different ways. And it's like, I started this project, but now I want to do this project. And, keeping my focus, I'm seeing like, wow, you can actually take things pretty far and gather the resources and people to assist you with it if you're focused.
Yep.
So I just say keep your focus, man.
I love the fact that it's almost like a full circle moment because when I introduced you, we literally introduced the laundry list of things that you do.
Exactly.
And we're talking about focus now.
Yes, sir.
Which is important. And so that right now the focus is the EP, which is now out and dropping. And just that focus, it's awesome to hear you say that because yes, focus is super important.
Yeah.
You focus on that one thing and you move that forward and you just keep moving that forward instead of doing, it's also really hard as a creative. You're right. Because there's so many other, for me, you got DC Music Rocks. We've got this podcast and then I'm also the drummer in a band. And then there's like, there's so many things that you would want to do, but in order to actually do something, you got to focus.
So can I add, how do you do it? Because you managing a lot. Do you do a lot of writing? Do you keep it all up here or?
Get everything out of your head. If I could offer one piece of advice, it would be write everything down and come up with an organized way to get it out of your head. And that way you can keep it all because you can't remember everything. So as long as you write it down and you got an organized system for how to write it down, it's one of the things. I used to teach 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I used to teach the training classes for that.
Wow.
So that was one of the things for me was actually really learning some of this stuff. Like, how do you really be effective and stuff? And I get it. For me, it was a big thing.
Who was that book by?
That's by, it's funny when you put me on the spot. What is his name?
7 Habits
of Highly Effective People by, I'm going to find out for you right now. But anyway, Yes, I will share that with you after the break, because now we got to go back. I want to get back to some music, but if they want to find out more about you and the amazing things that are happening with Dante Pope, where do they go to find that?
You would go to www.dantepope.com. That's DantePope.com. And that's the same name on all social media. Relative to my shows and teaching, you can go to Dante Sangin Drummer Pope on Facebook, or just Dante Pope. I have 2 different pages, but Sangin Drummer is a page you should like, as that's my band page. And I'm looking to grow that thing. And I'm Dante Pope on Instagram.
There it is. Dante Pope. You got it. All the places. Check out more from him. And I will say it's Stephen Covey. That's the author of that book. Hey, you put me on the spot. I can't believe I forgot about it. It's Covey, man. I worked for Covey for a little while. Holy smokes. Anyway, so check that out. Now we're going to get back to the music. And one of the things you do as a guest on this show is you got to bring great music with you. And gosh knows Dante's played with some of the amazing ones, and we're going to share some with you now. So Dante, what do you have for us first on this one?
This next tune is Going Down the Road Feeling Bad by Dom Flemings. It's on his album, The Black Cowboys.
DC Music rocks. Tune in, jam on, rock out.
I'm going down the road feeling bad. I'm going down the road feeling bad. I'm going down the road feeling bad, Lord. I ain't gonna be treated this way. They feed me on cornbread and beans. They feed me on cornbread and beans. Oh, now they feed me on cornbread and beans, Lord. I ain't gonna be treated this way. Go ahead, man. Keep on, man. Going down that long dusty road. I'm going down that long dusty road. Oh, now I'm going down that long dusty road, Lord. I ain't gonna be treated this way.
The sweet sounds of Dom Flemings, and the track is
Going Down the Road Feeling Bad.
The Road Feeling Bad. And that's off the album Black Cowboys. And now talk about total departure, because we just played your song One Summer's Eve that you composed that was like this sweet, like, what do we say? Put it on and turn off the lights or something. It's like that R&B vibe. And then that was totally different, man. So now talk about Dom Flemings.
Man, so I used to play a lot prior to meeting him with this guy named Brian Farrow, who was is his bass player.
Okay.
And I got a call from his manager in like 2014. I just got back. I was with this cat named Diggs Duke. We were like in LA and did this show opening for Erykah Badu for Giles Peterson. It was like a birthday party thing.
Cool.
So I was like, wow, that's my first industry thing. I guess I'm going to be like an R&B hip hop drummer. And I get a call from this guy from Hillsborough, North Carolina. Like, hey, man, you think you want to come down here and audition for some stuff? Like, I heard about you from Brian. And I was like, sure. Like, I'll go check it out. And met Dom. Dom is from Flagstaff, Arizona, but he was a member of the Carolina Chocolate Drops. and started his own, solo career after they got their Grammy in, I think, 2013. And so, working with him was interesting. Our first tour, I was trying to still be myself. Like the tech rider was like a DW. I had like a 7-piece DW kit, right?
Okay.
But then he had this like circa 1920s marching bass drum that the artist, literally Art Crumb, did the artwork on it for him. The guy that did like Garfield, right?
Holy smokes.
So it was like this huge kit and then a folk kit. And so after my first gig, this lady walked up to me and she was like, we heard you, right? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she was like, yeah, that's not a good thing. This is folk music. She was like, the drums are to be insinuated. And when I told Dom that, he was like, he's like, good on you, man. He says, he's like, good on you, man. Yeah, you need to learn some other styles. So on that song, I'm playing rhythm bones, which I have them here with me now. All my accoutrements. But rhythm bones are the ribs of a cow. Or bones. You can have shin bones, you can have rib bones. And so with these actual instruments, you just clack them together. It's very hard to play.
Wow. So it's like playing spoons.
Exactly.
Only bones.
It's the same thing.
Wow.
It's the same thing. So
holy smokes.
I had to learn that style. And quite frankly, I had to learn how to hear the quarter note in a different way. Because
I was to say it's that different vibe.
It's a whole nother vibe.
And you were talking about Grammys, something about the Grammys too?
Yes. So this project, Black Cowboys, was a partnership with the Smithsonian Folkways. And
cool.
Yeah. So I did 6 tracks with him the day I went to ask my wife's parents if I could marry her. So I'll never forget. It was June 9th of like 2015.
Okay.
And yeah, man, we cut the record and, played for the opening of the African American Smithsonian. That's what the record is for. There's
cool.
The African American Museum is releasing projects specific to African American life. And so this was the first of a collection.
This is Black Cowboys.
And
from the museum. Wow, cool. I didn't know that.
This album is up though for Best Folk Album for this year's Grammys.
Wow.
So I'm currently like a Grammy nominated drummer in a way.
Look at you. And playing bones.
Yeah, playing bones. Singing
that's
background.
Awesome.
So if he gets it, then yeah, I could say I was on a Grammy album.
Man, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, and in the interest of keeping things really interesting, I'm gonna please, by the way, he's in Silver Spring now. He lives in DC. Dom Flemons
lives in DC.
So he's a DC guy. So check out more from Dom Flemons. I got a profile for him in DCMusicRocks.com and the DC Artist Database. So check out more from him, or click his name in your episode notes. You can click on that song and you'll see his profile too. Yep. And now I want to switch. I've got another one that I brought with me. This is another one I never played for you. And this is, man, we're switching back to that smooth R&B style. This is an artist I found called Jay Wood, and the track is called Impatient.
DC Music Rocks.
Sunrise into the sunrise. Yeah.
Jay Wood, and the track is Impatient, and that's off the full album Child Star that came out in 2018. And if you like Usher, Chris Brown, or Trey Songz, you might love more of the collection of Jay Wood. And I should note it's Jaye. That's Jay Wood. Interesting. He grew up in Waldorf, Maryland, but he currently resides in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. He began acting at age 9, and he started professionally singing on Broadway as young Simba in The Lion King. He also does some taekwondo. Really interesting guy. Like, he's basically, this is kind of, it seems like this is his calling. The bottom line is, I'm a huge R&B fan. Like, hip hop and R&B is, it's just good for my soul, man. I love it. And I heard Jay Wood, and it was like, oh, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I love. So I love sharing him with you. Of course, I've got all of his links, so you can check out more from Jay Wood and more of his music, because I've really enjoyed getting to know this guy and listening to more of his tracks. So check out Jay Wood. Now, we've got time for one more. It's going to be Black Alley. But before we do that, I want to wrap. So here's what, first I want to say, Dante, here's what I love. I love that you came up to DC and you were going to do policy, and then you switched to music, and you're sticking with the music thing. I love that you've got this awesome EP that's coming out, because the singles that I've heard have been freaking awesome. And the cool stuff you're doing with the kids, with the musicianship. If you haven't checked out the musicianship, they're the ones who are the name behind. They're helping with the Whammies. The Funk Parade, and they're involved in a lot of DC's cultural stuff, but at the same time, their focus is on educating kids about music. And of course, you're a big part of that too. And so basically, I just love all the stuff you're doing with music that has made this kind of amazing life for you in DC, that started with politics, and now it's all about music, and it's still in DC. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. And thank you so much for coming and being on the show today, man.
Thank you for having me.
This is really cool. And one more time, if they want to find out more about you and the stuff happening with you, where do they go online?
www.dantepope.com, DantePope.com.
Got it. There it is. And listeners, I play drums for the DC rock band Fellowcraft. And since I am a DC musician, I consider it such a treat to share these guests like Dante and this great music from right here in DC with you each week. Remember, we have resources for you too. This community is offline. It's not just an online thing. So we'd love for you to be a part of it. DCMusicRocks.com, you have access to a database of more than 400 DC region artists to help you find more music that you'll love. And of course, a calendar to help you attend these great shows happening all over the DC area every day. So the bottom line is, I want to say thanks. Thanks for following DC's music. Thanks for supporting DC's musicians. And most importantly, thanks for listening. Next week, we got another one likely coming up. So check out future shows, of course, and subscribe to the show. But now let's bring it home with Black Alley. And I want you to talk about these guys before we play them now. So Dante, talk about Black Alley and your experience with them. We'll end with the song.
Black Alley was the first group that I joined while I was still on Capitol Hill. So by day, I was walking the halls of Congress. By night, I was at Indulge nightclub or Live or what used to be, I think LaFontaine Blue may still be open, playing go-go, man, and singing background, smacking that cowbell. And they were the first group to really get my confidence up as a singer, because I came here as a drummer, but DC has so many amazing drummers that it was just like, hey man, do you do anything else? And I was like, actually, I do. Thank you. Yeah. I can sing a little bit. So I was with them for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
And, since then, I mean, they've gone to Kuwait. They've gone to Ghana. They've
done some incredible. Their listenership now is huge. Their following is big. They've just continued to grow. Yeah, and man, they called it hood rock, which I always thought was interesting. Mm-hmm. When you were with them, you played, cowbell, but were you behind the kit? No, never. Got it.
At rehearsal, I used to be so happy, but no, my go-go pocket is like decent, but that's a rhythm that's not easy to play.
God, it really is.
Because you have to really relax and swing harder than normal swing. Yep. Yeah. So at rehearsals, if Danny was maybe like 5 minutes late, I'd be on drum for 5 minutes. But I was always just supporting vocals for Casey, man. It's a powerful group.
How'd you come across him?
There used to be an open mic at what's now, it's a hotel probably, but on 4th and New York Avenue at this remember the Warehouse Lofts, man?
That sounds familiar.
I was there, and it was the first time I sang in DC. I sang Prototype at an open mic. Dre King, who was on my EP, was on keys. Dennis Turner, who's the music director for Odyssey and Good Company, he was on bass. Aaron Harden, who plays for like all these. It was crazy, man. So I got up there and sang, and Omar afterwards was like, "Hey, man, could you want to audition for like a group this weekend?"
Nice.
And I was like,
To sing?
To sing, yeah. I was like, yeah, I'll try, man. And
Sure.
went over there and sang and was able to back up Casey for a good couple of years. And I couldn't make the scheduling work between that and
I mean, they're so active.
Yeah.
They got so much going on.
always
So
playing.
yes. So if you haven't checked out Black Alley,
Yes.
you need to go check out Black Alley. We're going to play one of those songs. We played a lot of their songs for you over the years on DC Music Rocks. And this one is an awesome, they brought out a new album called Dirty Laundry last year. This is another one you can nominate for the Whammies. This one's called, album is Dirty Laundry. And this is, we'll bring it home. This is the track called Helen Keller, right by
man.
Black Alley. Check it out.
DC Music Rocks.
Late night, you with your homies and don't say why. Don't ask you questions, have a great night. But when it's me, it's like you go berserk. When the roles reverse, I clap my hands and told him, great try. When he said be on before daylight, these ain't the rules I wanna play by. We ain't official and I know it hurts, but I know my worth. Boy, I think you lost your mind. I don't have to answer to you. You don't pay my bills, Nick. What's it to you? I don't have to answer to you. Let's just keep it real. I can't even hear you. I'm gonna get us to the bush. Gonna get us to the bush. I'm gonna get us to the bush. I don't answer to you. Gonna get us to the bush. Gonna get us to the bush. Gonna get us to the bush. I can't even hear you. Date night, I gotta pay this like the 8th time. Ain't got no money but your state flight. How long you think I'm gonna hold you down? When I know you now, you're hearing rumors through the grapevine. So when I'm out, you wanna FaceTime. You're insecure and I can't say why. All I know is that what goes around comes around. Boy, you must have lost your mind. I don't have to answer to you. You don't pay my bills. What's it to you? I don't have to answer to you. Let's just keep it real. I can't even hear you. I'm gonna get us to the bush. Gonna get us to the bush. I'm gonna get us to the bush. I don't answer to you. Gonna get us to the bush. Gonna get us to the bush. Gonna get us to the bush. I ain't the one you gon' be clocking. Believe me, if that's the way you gon' be rocking. You should leave me. You act like I ain't got no options. Have you seen me? Cause right now you're doing too much. Don't push it up. Boy, you lost your fucking mind. Gotta get us to the bush. I gotta get us to the bush. I gotta get us to the bush. I don't answer to you. I gotta get us to the bush. Gotta get us to the bush. I gotta get us to the bush. I can't even hear you.
Thank you so much for listening to DC Music Rocks. Useful links and information about this episode can be found on the website dcmusicrocks.com. Tune in, jam on, rock out.